And we're live.
You know what? I actually really thought about the vehicle. In my experience, now granted, I look like this, so in my experience, doesn't really matter what I'm driving. The women are not just flocking, right? But the vehicle I have driven, two vehicles, both from the same company, in which I have never in my entire life experienced a reaction from females, is Morgan. The Morgan three-wheeler and the Morgan +4. When you drive one of those, not only are they both very fun to drive, they're both mildly crappy in terms of they break a lot and whatever. They're British and old designs. But when you drive one of those, you are like man of mystery. You are fun. You don't take yourself too seriously. They can't tell if the car's old or new, and it doesn't really matter. But you're not threatening. You've clearly got some money to waste on something as silly as this car.
I bet this car pairs nicely with a gold Submariner.
Something like that. Yeah.
I can't remember
Driving
that guy's name.
Women just tapping it on the side. Just
Morgans are fucking awesome, man. The Morgan +4 and the Morgan Aero and the Morgan three-wheeler. If you really want a positive reaction from genuine positivity from women, they really want to talk to you about what this thing is and get in it and ride with you. A Morgan.
I've been in a three-wheel Morgan. I can't remember the guy's name. He owns like part of this club in New York called the Box.
Alex Roy. Yeah, of course you've been in Alex Roy's three-wheeler. Yeah. He's my homie. He's my super homie. Yeah.
Just driving me around, give me a tour of New York.
Him driving you around Manhattan too, right?
Oh, hauling so much ass. and it's so fucking loud. It sounds like a motorcycle, like a Harley.
It is. It's a Harley engine. It is a Harley engine. That's why. The best thing about a Morgan three-wheeler, as you probably learned with Alex, is that the laws just don't apply to you at all.
Nope. Nope. I'm pretty sure we were supposed to be wearing helmets. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
We got pulled over by undercover NYPD, and he didn't even let them talk. He just gave them tickets to his next show. Like, it was bizarre. It was a fun night. That guy's a wild man.
Life is very interesting in a Morgan three-wheeler.
How much is a Morgan three-wheeler?
$50,000.
Yeah.
It's a weird price for a toy, right?
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of people in America who can swing a $50,000 toy. It's not a stupid amount of money, but it is a lot of money for a toy.
A lot of money for this.
Taylor, you could buy
Alex.
This. If this is what you really wanted, you could have this. Right. Yeah. But you could.
But also, this three-wheeler, it looks like the kind of thing where like an airplane crashed 50 miles from where they need to be in the desert and they had to cobble together a vehicle and make it there for the extraction point. That's what
a really good description of that, actually.
And so I would get
and you know what? It drives like that too.
Yeah. it's a little rumbly on there.
No,
it's super rumbly.
It drives. I mean, seriously, it's like being fucking Baron von Munchausen, dude. It's
I'm looking at this. I could put this in the stable. I've got storage for this.
Fabulous.
I'm just not that kind of financial masochist who buys shit like this.
If you buy one that's used, that's had the shit kind of gone through, because they have what they call a heavy duty package, which basically Alex Roy invented by breaking his a dozen times, a dozen ways. So Alex has had like 3 Morgan three-wheelers. He bent the chassis on one, because the problem with a Morgan three-wheeler or any three-wheeled vehicle is that you can't straddle anything. You hit the pothole with one of the 3. It's just a matter of which one. So that can have some disastrous results. On the other hand, it is a truly unique motoring experience, unavailable anywhere else at any price. And Alex and I call it the best 4th car ever, because if you got a regular car, you got a sports car, you got a vintage car, this is the level beyond that. It's the 4th car.
This is where like you just need to scratch that itch for another car.
It's pure energy. It's not like the new McLaren 765 that I just drove. It's basically like driving an Indy car on the street, just so crazy. This is just energy assaulted at you in a way that no other vehicle can do.
I've never seen something
price. Yeah,
like we pulled up in front of his club and there was a line outside.
Who
like
is
a
this
big
person
line
again?
of people. Alex Roy.
His name is Alex. He's an author, and he is a road tripper and automotive journalist. He's kind of one of the cannonball guys, the guys who race across the country. And he works at an autonomous vehicle research company. He's really interesting. He's a really interesting person. And he's got his hand in a couple little nightclubs around New York City. He's kind of like a bit of a socialite.
He looks ridiculous. Like he was wearing that jacket. He was wearing that jacket. He had like covered in all these medals and medallions.
The fake police jackets. Yeah.
It was absurd. It was like a German police jacket covered with like medals and medallions and shit. Like he looked like one of those.
When I take you downstairs, I'll show you mine.
He looked like a North Korean general. He looked like a North Korean general, just covered with fucking medallions. And when we pulled up in front of his club, there must have been 100 people in line outside. Everybody stopped and looked because, they wanted to know what that explosion was that just pulled up. It was so goddamn loud.
Like Uncle Buck picking up the kids at school.
Yeah, there's never been anything more conspicuous than that fucking car. We pulled up and got out and then walked to the front of the line. And I know they must have been thinking, who's that spaceman who just arrived? Like we're looking at Alex. It was nuts.
Yeah.
It was really fun to
How
ride.
his money? The nightclubs? Inherited?
He inherited some of it, a lot of it, almost all of it. His father started a very big rental car agency in Europe called Europe by Car, which when he passed away in, 2002 or 3, Alex took over ownership of, and he ran it for a while and eventually sold out to somebody, and he has since spent a lot of time writing about cars, and he's a very good writer. He also wrote a book, and he now works at Argo AI, which does autonomous vehicle development, and they just signed a massive deal with Ford as a partner, which is pretty cool. Good for them. And he also is a partner in a very high-end like stereo store, like not like Buck's Super Stereo World. Like they're a dealer for like Macintosh and like those crazy fucking amp shits where you got to sit in one chair in the middle of the room, whatever.
Have you ever been to his club, the Box?
I have, yes.
What was on the menu that night? What was the wildest thing you saw on stage?
I mean, there was like midgets and like, circus performers, but also some like burlesque shit. What I remember most about the Box was that I got 2 Red Bull and vodkas. This was a long time ago when I drank Red Bull and vodka. I got one for me and one for my friend, and I remember the bill was $48.
I got 2 Red Bull and vodkas. I ordered bottle service, which is a bottle of Absolute vodka, a bottle of orange juice, and a bottle of cranberry juice, and maybe a couple of Red Bulls, and it was $800.
$800.
Do you know how much a bottle of Absolute is at the store?
Like $30.
No,
$38.
$13.
Oh, it was the big bottle.
You're paying for the service, bro.
But we were right next to the fucking stage, and immediately 2 hot chicks came over and sat on my lap and my buddy's lap just so they could get to the alcohol.
Yes. That's what
but I saw a woman. I'm actually not sure about the genders. So I saw one individual lead another individual out on a leash and then like beat the shit out of him. And then they like put whipped cream. The one in charge put whipped cream in their ass crack and like forced the other one to eat the whipped cream. And then I want to say at one point, I think that was a female, shoved this big butt plug dog tail up the one on all fours ass. And he definitely didn't like it. He was like, ah! It was like that scene in Pulp Fiction. It was that look on Marcellus Wallace's face. It was.
Who is this for? This doesn't sound like
this is for the whole crowd. Oh, we were cheering.
Taco Tuesday.
We were cheering like the hometown team just scored a touchdown. It was like, yeah, get it up there.
This is what happens when you skip out on your tab. You also get quasi raped in front of
Tuesdays at the Box. I was out with Alex at some club in New York. There was a Russian bar underground. It was fucking cool as hell. And we're drinking there. And about 40 minutes into us being there, he was like, I think I own part of this place. And we went and got the manager, and the manager confirmed that he did actually go to the party. It was hysterical. That story that I just told right there makes him sound like kind of an asshole. And that story took place in his peak cocaine years. He no longer does cocaine, and he will laugh upon those times fondly because he didn't hurt too many people during those times. But that was peak cocaine, Alex.
He was mostly just forgetting what assets he owned.
Pretty much. That's more like Arthur than fucking anything else, right? But he's really smart. He's really like a kind of like a philosopher, actually, if such a thing exists today.
Yeah. That was one of the weirdest nights of my life. We were on like a rooftop. I can't remember what it's called. It's some sort of rich kid club. Like I don't know. They pay $100,000 a year, and you get to be a member of this club and use their fucking facilities. And we're on the roof.
Oh, it's like Soho House, right?
Yeah. On the roof.
House. Yeah, he's a member of Soho House.
On the roof having drinks, and it's like me, a Lamborghini racing male model who's my buddy, and who's the guy who won the Medal of Honor that year? Fucking a Medal of Honor winner. He just had been on Bill O'Reilly. He's with
the
us.
American Sniper.
No, not that guy. He didn't win the Medal of Honor. No, it was
the guy he shot.
His name's Dakota Meyer.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
And he's got like a colonel as his handler to like make sure Dakota Meyer in no way disgraces the United States, and also that nobody beats up Dakota Meyer in the streets or something. So it's like this straight-laced, like crew cut, like gray-haired colonel who's shit-housed drunk, just out of his mind, wasted.
They didn't say I had to stay sober.
And then we ran into
Ain't nobody care if I disgrace the uniform, right? Dakota? Have another water.
And then we run into Alex, so he fit right in with the group.
Yeah,
It was an interesting night.
I feel like I've heard the Alex's version of the Dakota Meyer story before. I feel like that's happened. Alex has run into some because after so the Cannonball record, right? New York to LA Cannonball record was 3207, and that was set in 1983. And Alex in 2006 and his friend Dave Maher beat it and did a 3104. And that was like a pretty big deal because it had been a very long time, and people really thought that with modern traffic, it wasn't possible. The roads were emptier back then and blah, blah, blah. And Alex used like modern technology, or as modern as was available at the time, these weather charts and police frequencies and all kinds of crazy shit. And then he wrote a book about it, and he waited smartly until the statute of limitations was up to publish the book. But the book, talking about how he did it, it got him all these like government speaking gigs. He started going to speak at the FBI and all this shit about like countermeasures and like all this wild stuff. And so he ended up like just occasionally being around like really, really weird, random government adjacent kind of people.
Yeah, it's like that's how he government got investment to go after cannonballers, right? Like, just in case we've got a speeder.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't teaching the government how to go after other cannonballers. He was teaching. They were trying to use his techniques for like preparation to like drive fast, like for like convoying across other countries. I mean, I don't know. He never really actually talked about what they talked about at the FBI, but maybe eventually he'll share with me.
Yeah, he told me that basically they were like, "How did you do this? We want to know how you did this thing you did."
Yeah,
and I don't know, they really went into like what they were going to do with that information, but they wanted to know how the fuck he did what he did. Yeah, he had a plane flying overhead.
He did.
Right. So what, we're going to have countermeasures and people have Cessnas out in front of their cars jamming.
Well, by the way,
or something? I think it's more like weaponizing what he did potentially.
By the way, we're back. We're going back in time like 14 years at this point. You had Ed on. I mean, these people are running 25s now, dude.
Yeah.
25 hours. They're cutting 6 hours off of Alex's time, and Alex got to go talk to the government afterwards. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, the people that are doing it, especially like, it's a bit controversial, and I'm not really deep in that world, but they always come and talk to me about it, what they're calling the COVID cannonballs, because the question is, because the roads are so empty, the time got so Alex did like a 3104, and then Ed beat at Alex. He did a 29 something, and then this dude Doug did like a 28, right? But then in this year alone, I think like 10 new records were set because the roads were empty.
There's got to be an asterisk there because that's not fair. Like there's no traffic. They got to take like from March on, all those have a little. This happened during COVID.
So in the beginning, there was this all sort of holier than thou kind of bullshit. And it was like, well, what if you cause an accident and an ambulance for you and a hospital bed for you, means that someone who's got COVID. And so there was that in the beginning, not from me, but there was that in the beginning. And then that went away very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then now it's all sort of like, well, the times just don't really count as much.
Yeah.
Nobody really, after the first 48 hours of outrage, does nobody fucking care.
They don't count.